Aaron and Cara podcast. My name is Aaron.
And I'm Cara.
Yeah. And this is our first episode of our podcast. Basically, this is about the entertainment world, the fashion world, and the art world. Everything like that. Basically, our passions. My name is Aaron, of course. I'm a photographer, videographer, filmmaker, and actor. And what do you do?
Well, I go by Cara, and right now I'm an online boutique owner, and I do makeup. So this should be interesting.
Okay. But yeah, this is our first episode. And we're just starting off talking about little things in entertainment, talking about ourselves, little things like that. So, Cara, why did you get into your passion? Like, what is that about?
Okay, so initially I was doing the healthcare sector, and it was awesome. You know, helping people is great. You make good money, but I didn't have any time, at home with family, friends, with my daughter. So this was one of those things that being an entrepreneur was about the freedom to choose, the freedom to have my time to myself and still make a lucrative income. So that's how I got to where I am.
Okay. Well, me personally, I've always loved the arts. I've always loved entertainment. I dabble a little bit in acting. I've done a few shows. I've done my own skits. Of course, you can find me on YouTube. As a matter of fact, you can find us both on YouTube. Well, you can find us on YouTube, Instagram, and myself on Twitter. What's your Instagram name?
My Instagram name is Luxury Tresses by Lay. We'll drop links to that below.
Mm-hmm. And of course, my Instagram name is Red-Dreamers, as well as my Twitter name, Billy Badass. But yeah, that's just basically it about ourselves. Like I said, I still do photography and little things like that. I freelance in the world. But we're just really starting out. We recently seen the Avengers. How'd you like that?
It went a little different. They always say that good prevails and the bad guy doesn't win. And traditionally what we see in our Avengers films are they win,
Yeah, well, no spoilers.
Okay.
Well, I mean, still, but it's okay. But
it's been out for a while, so I'm sure people have seen it. I've seen a lot of action on my Facebook commenting about it already, and those little memes with people disappearing. I think that we're beyond the point of spoiling it. This is like second week box office. I don't think
okay, well,
spoiler.
Actually, that's cool and all that. After this, right now we're going to talk about spoilers, but if you don't want to be spoiled about the movie after a certain time slot, I'll just put the link below, or I'll let you know if you're listening to this on audio. I'll let you know when to skip and like what number to skip towards. But yeah, I loved it personally.
It was great. I mean, it was action-packed from beginning to end pretty much. I mean, from scene one, you were like, yes, this is why I chose to watch this movie.
Well, I mean, like, I've always been like a comic book fan. Really, I'm more of a DC fan than anything. But the way that they built this up, this is what movies are supposed to be. This is like how it started 10 years ago with first Iron Man, and of course every single movie links up together and just builds up to a huge climax. Now, movies like James Bond, they've been going on for like years, and of course I don't know what they're at, like 25 movies or somewhere around there, but you don't see the connection between each of the movies. They're all standalone. They're all episodic, which is good in its own right. But the format that the Avengers have done, the format that Marvel has done, it really draws you into it, and it brings you towards the next movie. It's just like a television episode, except in a longer, more higher budget format.
The casting was awesome. We got to see a few players whom I didn't expect to be in an Avengers film because they're not Avengers. So it was pretty good to see a lot of our other favorite superheroes coming in to kind of help save the day. More like a all for one and one for all kind of deal.
I guess. I mean, but yeah, Thanos is definitely the ultimate villain. Like, we also seen Black Panthers together too.
Yes.
I mean, I like I like this movie more than I like Black Panther. What do you think?
I think it had more action in it, but Black Panther was definitely one for the ages. I mean, out of all the Marvel films, I feel like it was for the culture, you know what I mean? It went into a lot of detail about the Africans and that whole movement as far as being more ritualistic and the clothing, the garments, just instead of just hero saves the city that's on fire from the villain, it was more like, this legacy kind of left behind and created with that.
Well, basically, we've been building up to Infinity War for the past 10 years, of course. I was looking forward to this movie. I had way more hype for this movie over any of the other movies.
Okay.
And that, hype adds into when you want something,
I think there was two different hypes. I mean, when it comes to hype, of course, like I was saying earlier, Black Panther was a film for the ages. People were hyped because this is big. This is about representation, and it was representing us in a positive light. You don't have too many roles with people of African descent not being some type of villain or bad guy or shooting up something, stealing something, living impoverished. This was everything but that. This was people living in all the riches of the world and what it had to offer, and just flourishing as a nation and having so much to give ultimately to the free world by the end of the movie. So that was a different paint. Like you said, of course, the Avengers is a beloved series. I've watched the cartoons, saw the different remakes of it throughout the years, and yeah, of course you're going to always be hyped to see everybody get together because it's what good movies are made out of, like you said.
Mm-hmm. Let me spit some fun facts though. Black Panther is, of course, the first black superhero, not Blade. You do
no argument.
Right. Not Blade. Of course, Meteor Man is the first black superhero movie. And then Blank Man. And then Blade. And then somebody else after that. No, yeah, Shaq was like Steel or something. Seen that movie?
No.
Never even heard of it.
So let's get into some of these new albums. J. Cole. Let's go. What do you think?
Well, I think about J. Cole, I'm going to be real with you. I love J. Cole. I love J. Cole as an artist. I believe he's deep. I believe he speaks to people. Right. However, his new album is boring. I really, really think is, and that's going to bother a lot of people because I say it's just boring, but that is what it is. As a lover of music, I listen to music for entertainment purposes.
Right.
I listen to music for how it makes me feel and things of that nature. I feel like in the realm of hip hop, the lyrics are not the most important thing. It goes hand in hand with your rhythm and your cadence, and of course the beat as well. Right. And that creates an entertainment factor. Now, if you are trying to go for just a straight message and all that kind of stuff, then you can do spoken word, and even that requires stage presence and a way of performance and things of that nature. So when I listen to J. Cole's album, I'm falling asleep on it because there's nothing to get me up and there's nothing to really get me excited. Even people like Nas or Lupe Fiasco or who else? Kendrick Lamar. They know how to do make the exact same message as J. Cole. However, they know how to make it entertaining. They know how to put their persona in it.
And you're right. We probably are going to get killed for this, but I'm going to have to go behind you with that. We went to go see my sister the other day, and she was like, oh, it's such great artistry in that. And I think it kind of boils down to you have some diehard fans, like you have your diehard Yankees fans, people who are going to be fanatics no matter what. We get that. But I don't see this latest album getting much radio play. Like, I don't see people running by the masses to want to, request this for your midday mixers and things like that. I don't see any of this being played in local clubs kind of thing, because I don't think you would really be dancing to this. So it's not like a celebration album. Maybe it could be considered a work of art. A lot of thought I'm sure was put into it, but it's not that get up on your feet music that we've been used to hearing, you know, entertainment wise.
Even if it's a work of art is subjective. True. Like, you can have a painting with nothing but splashes and like random colors on it, and it'll be considered a work of art. But is that going to be like really, really good to you?
Right.
No, it's not. So, like, yeah, it may be a work of art. Once again, I respect them. I respect the album and all of that. But that, like, I was just on Facebook. I don't have a filter. I'm like, the album is trash. I don't like the album at all. It's just boring. And I listened to this twice, and you listened to it with me. This isn't
very disinterested. I mean, unlike the other person who also dropped the album more recently, Cardi B. That's a whole different direction. You know, a lot of people have said hip hop has lost its way, and we have these, you know, mumble rappers and different things, but it gets the job done. I am a fan of Cardi B's new album because of a few reasons. It star-studded with some of our favorite artists. You know, that's not even an argument to be had. A lot of thought was put into it. There's a little something on there for everybody, I think. You know, for the lovers out there, for the people who just want something to jam to, for the club, for that one, you know, Mary J. Blige type hit where you feel like, you know, you had your last strike and you just want to sit back and listen and mellow out. So I think that, you know, she kind of struck gold with it. You know, her features outside of her album, where she's featured on other mainstream artists' music like Bruno Mars, you know, Finesse and things like that, is really just showing Cardi as an artist. How are you feeling about that album?
Now, I'm gonna be real with you. I didn't listen to the album as intently as I did J. Cole's album, because I wanted to like J. Cole's album.
Okay.
I wanted to like it like really bad because of all that. I already knew I was gonna like Cardi B's album. I already knew it because just based on radio play and her personality and all that. And see, like, her album is basically, you can say it's almost the same as J. Cole's in that she is explaining her story.
Right.
She does tell her own story, but she does it in her own way, which makes it attractive. So, like, I kind of dreaded listening to J. Cole's album for the second time, but I will listen to Cardi B's album, like, a second time really, really quick.
And we only listened to it for a second time because we wanted to be honest about the review of it. The first time we thought maybe we didn't listen intently enough to grasp it, and that's why we didn't like it. So we played it back because we said, you know what, okay, let's put everything down. Let's really give this a whirl. And yeah, still really wasn't that impressed.
Yeah, definitely not. Speaking of music, Kanye West is in the news again, and of course he has like an interview with TMZ. I did not listen to that interview, but I do know based on the memes and everything that's going on Facebook, which, you know, people on social media trashes people like really, really bad. Kanye West says something along the lines of slavery was a choice.
Right.
Now here's my thing about artists, me and like any kind of artist. I don't get into the personal business of that artist.
Right.
So if I want to support them for their music or like whatever art they put out, I buy it specifically for the art, not for the person that they are. So I mean, that's something that I am personally like.
Within reason, I feel like if you're, you know. Well, you can't even say that because we've had rappers who were real life murderers and people still bought their music. I was going to say, if you killed somebody, you might not want to support that artist, but we know that sometimes that gets the more notoriety. So I guess you can't really say that either. In that case, I'm going to, take a step back and jump on the bandwagon with you with, if you're a good artist, Kanye West has been known as a phenomenal producer. He's actually coming out with some new works with Tiana Taylor, who's one of my favorites.
Is he?
Yes, they're about to drop that. It's a Kanye West produced album. So, I'm a fan of Kanye, not so much of Mr. West when he's at home and not on someone's track. I think it was very tacky of him. Slavery, the Holocaust, these types of things. I can't see these people having a vote on if this could happen or not. And I feel that maybe he might have not meant it that way, but a lot of things that people take to heart, once you put it out there, it's hard to reel it back in. You know, he said what he said, as people say, I said what I said, you know. He said it, and so now he's kind of got to eat the crow. I don't think that, I want to believe he didn't mean it exactly the way it spewed from his mouth. I think he was saying that maybe an uprising of some sort could have taken place sooner than the 400 years to free them. He kind of felt that people, you know, kind of let it go on for too long. I think that might have been what he was, I want to hope he was touching along that lines. And not just spitting in the face of our ancestors saying, you know, you guys had a right to do this or that kind of thing.
Right. A lot of people saying he's cooning because he's like, you know, jumping
pro
on
Donald Trump.
Well, see, here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. It's not a secret that the rich benefit more from the Republican Party versus the poor. So it's true. It's the party for people who are in business versus a socially conscious party. So, in that light,
then yeah, he would be a supporter of that said party because he wants to protect his coins. Right. The same as everybody else. Even though they're not verbalizing it, they are with those policies and, you know, new legislation brought on by the Republicans.
So, like, I'm not always the person to jump on the bandwagon of calling someone a coon or anything like that. That's just me. But once again,
it was distasteful.
Yeah. But once again, I support an artist for the art, not for who the person is. And that segues into another person who was in the news recently, Bill Cosby.
Yes. So Bill Cosby, he was indicted on these charges. You know, I'm mixed about it. I think that this, along with double jeopardy, is, you know, I feel like he shouldn't be getting tried for something from 30 years ago. You know, he's not as conscious of what it was that he has done. He's very elderly. And it just almost seems as if someone didn't have anything better to do, or they just wanted, you know. I question people's integrity when you come out into the light at a certain time. I don't think that sexual harassment is a joke. I'm a woman. My mother was a victim of rape. I don't believe that any of these things are anything to joke about. However, if you've lived in silence and or you have coped with that and which is going on, I didn't see the need to imprison elderly Bill Cosby for a crime of a younger man, Bill Cosby. Now, if you wanted to bring this forward 20 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, 30 years ago, whenever, and get him arrested and indicted, then I'm like, yes, all for it. You know, jail is a harsh place, and especially for sexual offenders. And if you're an old man sexual offender, I don't imagine that he'd have a very good time in jail. I mean, he does have money, so maybe he won't be with the general population. Not sure how that works. I just have mixed feelings. I want justice for those women, don't get me wrong. I just have mixed feelings about imprisoning him for a crime from so long ago at this point.
I don't know if I really even have an opinion or not, because I'm so disconnected from the case at this point that whatever happens, happens. Like, they've already taken away his legacy. He's no longer has his name on the buildings that Spelman and different things like that. They've taken his show off the air now. His show was
Jello and pudding from when we were kids. You know, everything's being erased.
I keep
the Cosby Show was the positive African American household role model situation. All that stripped.
Yeah, but you don't have to look at the Cosby Show because you have the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah, you do, but I mean, it still was one of those things. It's stripped. What I'm saying is that everything Bill Cosby's worked towards is stripped. Not saying there were, you have Family Matters, Fresh Prince. We had a whole slew of those. We get it. but I'm just saying his legacy as a whole and almost all of his works are now getting, kind of brushed under the rug. No one wants to be affiliated with sexual predatory type talking and dealings. It negates everything pretty much that he's done his whole life.
Like it really does. Like, you gotta watch out for what you're doing currently, because it's all gonna catch up to you, like, in the end.
Right.
Like, everybody's saying Bill Cosby did all this stuff, but why are these other people not getting the same charges? Like, was it Donald Trump? He said different things, and he was in his own sexual harassment suits, and there are these other, like the dude from Full House and all that. Mm-hmm. What you think about all of that?
The age-old privilege. I just feel like, some people are more privileged than others. It's not a rocket scientist. We know that the things like with Martha Stewart with the ankle bracelet house arrest situation, a lot of people who are privileged to get what regular people would call a tap on the wrist, whereas some of us, other more standard citizens are just placed down under the thumb. I saw that Kim Kardashian wanted to get a pardon for a lady. I couldn't recall her name, but apparently she was an older woman now. I'm not sure how old she was when she was incarcerated, but they gave her life. She's a non-violent criminal, but with a drug charge. And people have been talking about this for years. Why are people getting incarcerated over others? Why are some people just completely first-time offenders getting thrown away for life, while people who murder people are getting off on involuntary manslaughter and other lesser charges, and walking the streets afterwards? So we know that our penitentiary system and the judicial system isn't necessarily fair, and I don't know what we could do to change that. It's pretty much been the same for as long as we can remember. We aren't that old, so of course we can't say forever, but it's been that way as long as I could recall, where it really depends on who you are in regards to time served and things of that nature.
But that's all the time that we have. We want to thank you for listening or watching the Cara and Aaron podcast. Once again, this is our first episode, so of course we are getting into the swing of things. Of course, we will be back next Saturday, of course, to bring you more news on entertainment, art, and of course fashion. We didn't get deep into fashion this time, but next time maybe we will.
Next time we will.
And of course, if you are watching on YouTube, make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, all of that. And if you're watching on Facebook, of course, make sure that you share this with everybody that you know. All right.
Thanks, guys.